By now, you should have gone over and completed the functions review sheet. So let me go over a couple of ways that we can solve some of these problems. So the first direction is to auto format the columns. So I'm going to select D, E, and F, and then mouse over in between either the D and the E or the E and the F, double click, and it's going to pop up so that it will be wide enough to accommodate the largest entry. Center all the data, number 2, and I come right over here to center. Apply borders to every cell. So I'm going to select just the cells that are going to have text or numbers in them, and come up here and go to all borders. Bold the headers and increase the font to size 18. So bold and go to 18. And this is common. I need to re-auto format. So I'm going to come over here, select those D, E, and F, double click, and there I go. Sort column D in ascending order. So I'll select the entire table here, go up to data. I like to use the sort range because I like to have the control of sorting by the column title. So I'm going to sort by phone number, A to Z, go to sort. Here we go, 3, 3, 4, 5, that's an order. Use the left function to place the area code in column E. So here we go, and that's going to be equals left. And I'm going to click on this just to open up my help menu. So what's the string? Right here, comma, and now it's going to ask me for the number of characters. And this is pretty easy. The area code is the 3 digits to the left, so I could do 3. I'm going to close parentheses, and there I go. Highlight this cell, double click on the autofill handle, and down it goes. 7, use the right function to place the 7-digit phone number in column F. All right, so here I'm going to go equals right. And again, I'm going to click on this to pull up my help menu. What's the string over here? Comma. Now, the number of characters, I do need to get the 7-digit number, but there's a hyphen in there, so I need 8 characters from the right. And close parentheses, and there's my number there. Highlight it, that cell, double click on the fill handle, and there I go. I've solved all of the problems posed to me on left, right. So now let's look at the next sheet, which is the count sheet. I have the worksheet with the tab titled Count open, and the directions are set up a calculation in cell D22 that will count the number entries in column D. So I want to get a count of the numbers. Come down here, D22, and equals count. And as I start going, I see I have some help here. So if I click on count, that's the number of numeric values, and that's what I want. So it's asking me what are the values. Now I could select each one of these. I'm just going to click and drag to identify the range and close parentheses, and I get a value of 9. Quick check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I always get nervous about that. Now there is a little bit of a workaround here. So I'm going to use the count A function equals count. And again, I'm going to come up here and it says this will give me the number of values. So basically, it'll give me the number of cells in the range that are not blank. I'm going to select the whole range. Oh, not that one, down there. And you could do the close parentheses or hit enter. And the problem here is that there are 17 cells that are not empty here. So I need to make just a little bit of an addition. So I'm going to click on this, double click to open it up. And I can either edit the formula down here or edit it up here in the formula bar. So count a D5 through D21 minus this value here. That's in D22. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me all of the values in that range that are not blank, and it's going to subtract from that the count of the numbers, and that remaining value will give me the count of the text. So I did that. I set up the number entry count, the text entry, and now I got to copy these formulas across. So I can select both of these cells and go to the autofill and just come right across like this. And I have a lot of confidence that this is right. You could count them, but you might wind up having such a vast array of values and text that it would be inappropriate. But this is solving all of the directions that I have on the Count tab. I have opened up the worksheet with the tab titled Countif 1, and this is kind of a warm-up for the final worksheet. The direction states, set up a calculation in D21 to count the number of times the text able occurs in column D. So this is calls for the Countif, so equals. And again, I'm going to make use of all the help that I can. So this is a conditional count across a range. And what is the range? So I'm going to select all of these values here, D4 through D20, comma. Then it says, what is your criteria? So I'm just going to click here on cell C21. The thing is, if you were going to type in a word here, you'd have to use quotation marks. Close parentheses, and I have a value of 3 for able. So 1, 2, 3. This one worked out okay. I'm in the final worksheet, Countif 2. Directions are to complete the calculations needed to count the occurrences of identified text in column C through columns DH that results in the table starting C21. So I'll come up here just so we can see a little better. So here in C21, down here, I have Able Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot Golf. I want to know how many times that text, Able or Bravo, occurs in this column. And then I want to be able to find out the occurrence in these other columns over here. Obviously, this calls for Countif. So equals. I'm going to go to my pop-up help menu. So what's the range? And that's my range. There's a problem when we have multiple rows of our identifiers for search. If I, in this cell here, copy the formula over here, it'll be looking in E4 to E20, which is what I want. But if I copy this down, it'll be D5 through D21, and I gotta fix that up. So I don't want the rows to change, but I do want the columns to change. So I'm gonna use my F4 function key, and I'm going to make sure that the columns are unlocked, that they're relative, but there's a $ before the indicators for the rows, make them locked, make them absolute. So that's the range, and now a comma. And what's the criteria? So I'm going to click on able. Again, the problem is, if I copy this down, it's going to here look in C21, but for Bravo, it'll look in C22, C23. That's good. But if I copy this across this way, it's going to be looking at C21 here in this first column, but then it'll be looking in D21 when I move it over one, and I just don't want that to happen. So in this time, what I want is I do want to lock the column. So function key F4, and I want to make the $ in front of the C. I want to lock that in place and keep the row relative. Close parentheses. Good. Able. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I'm going to check it out. So here, I'm just coming down here, and I'm going to do Bravo. So it says that there's only one occurrence of Bravo here, and I set this up so we could check these pretty easily. That works out nicely. So let me just autofill all the way down. A quick check, Charlie. There is no Charlie in this column. I am going to then select all of these cells and copy them across. And now I have set up a way to check for the occurrence of every one of these items of text in my entire table that's above here. You got to admit, that's pretty good.